Budgeting your wedding is a fantastic, fun experience. No, seriously, budgeting your wedding is not always a fun thing, but it's an important thing that you should do. So we're doing a two-part series on this. Part one, budgeting for photography. Part two, budgeting for video. Before I get into specifics of photography, I highly recommend that the first thing that you do is set what I call a comfort range. This is the range you are willing to spend overall on your entire wedding. You need to start at this point. If you don't, you'll get really frustrated later on when you find an amazing vendor, but you keep finding these amazing vendors and you blow any dollar amount that you ever had out of the water. Okay, so start by setting a comfort range. Gather up anybody that's investing into this, your parents, your future in-laws, any money that you and your fiance have invested, and figure out how much you have to spend for your wedding. Start there. Step two is something that not many people do, but is a huge, huge benefit. I didn't even know you could do this. Meet with a planner. Planners actually do what's called a budget consult meeting. You're not signing up for their full planning services, and you're not signing up for their day of coordination. You're simply paying them a very, very small amount to meet with them for a couple hours to get their advice on planning the budget for your wedding. So if you know the area, let's say you're planning a wedding in Saratoga, meet with the Saratoga planner and say, hey, look, this is how much money we're looking to spend. What do you recommend? They'll be able to give you budget range for every single vendor category, whether it's a videographer, photographer, DJ, florist, venue, all of this. It's an amazing, amazing tool to start out with, and it really doesn't cost that much money. Okay, so number one, set your comfort range. Number two, meet with a planner and do a budget consult. Okay, now let's talk about photography. I know you're hoping that I'm going to say exact dollar amounts, but I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is that most photographers fall into what I call three categories. You have your entry-level photographer, which we all started there. I started there. Every photographer starts here. This is where you typically have another full-time job. You are building up your portfolio, you're building up your equipment list, you're investing into gear, and you're learning lessons. You're making mistakes, and you're learning from every single mistake. And the goal of an entry-level photographer is to move up, typically. So you're going to have a reasonable price point. Actually, it's going to be very inexpensive for this photographer, typically, because they're just trying to get their feet wet. The next level is what I call the professional photographer. This is the biggest range by far. This is a photographer who does this for a living. This is their full-time job. They may or may not have editors on staff. They may or may not have additional shooters on staff. But this is a photographer that is going to make sure that they focus on your wedding, because this is their bread and butter, is getting paid for shooting your wedding. So that's the professional category. The last category is what I call the artist. This is a photography category where they do amazing work, use the top gear available, and you pay a very, very pretty price to be able to get this. Now, I'm going to simplify it down. I equate this to cars. It simplifies it for me. But if you're shopping for a car, are you looking for an entry-level Hyundai that will get you from point A to point B? It doesn't have to be pretty, just simply needs to get you from point A to point B. It'll do the job that you want it to be done, and it's a great price point, okay? This is a lot of people that are looking for this level of photographer. Now, when you're looking at the professional realm, I look at this as your Acura, your Lexus, your entry-level BMW. This is a good quality car that's going to last for a long time, and you're going to look good driving it. It's not going to be the Hyundai. It's going to be a step up above that, but the product's going to be good, and the price point, you're going to pay for it depending on what level you're looking at. The third level, this is your Ferrari, your Lamborghini. And chances are, if you were looking at this level of photographer, you already know the names, and you already know whether or not you have a budget to be able to afford that level. Okay? So once you know what you're looking for, it's actually pretty easy to figure out what category a photographer falls into. And you can do this pretty quick. Word of mouth, website, and price point. Those are the things that are going to very quickly tell you what category they're in. So word of mouth, talk to your girlfriends, talk to your friends, figure out who they went with, and they'll be able to tell you, amazing photographer, reasonable price point. It was well worth the investment. And then go check out the website. If it's a great website and they do amazing work, the next step, contact the photographer and find out the price point. Okay, so those are the three levels. I hope this has been helpful. The one thing that I am going to stress with this is that you're paying for experience. So depending on what price point you have, the more you invest, the more experience you're gonna get. The more experienced a photographer is, the more relaxed and laid back and fun your wedding's gonna be. Because that photographer has done it so many times that it's fine. It's totally cool. We got this. Click, click, click. You're all set. So that's it for this week. I hope that this has been helpful. And I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna wrap up. I apologize for a longer video, but that's my advice on budgeting for photography. We'll do another one on budgeting for video very shortly. Thanks for checking this out, and check back soon for some more great tips.